I built a 250k business, then lost it. Hi guys, it's Matt with another episode of Sell Anything Anywhere. A little bit late getting this out to you this week. We've had some illness in the family, but order has been resumed now. I hope you're well and thank you so much for tuning in. So in this week's episode, what I'm going to cover off is failure, because it does happen to the best of us when we least expect it. And I'm going to tell you the story of how I built a 250k business and then lost it. But it's lessons that I learned from. So, quick story. One of my businesses, I built up a 250k, £250,000 hot tub business through COVID. Built it up, was successful, got lots of orders, delivered to lots and lots of people up and down the United Kingdom. The amount of money we made was unreal. I never knew that I could make that as a self-employed individual working for myself. It was such a fun, exciting, great time to be doing it. And within a blink of an eye, literally within a blink of an eye, it went. So we kind of closed the business down. We made our money. We ran with it basically. But the reason why it failed, and looking back now, is what I'm going to share with you, so it doesn't happen to you. You got to look at the factors that played a big part, a big role in this. And it was just along the lines where the energy crisis came in. There's a lot of problems with oil, with Russia, that side of the world. And it had a massive impact on the business that we was in. A lot of people didn't want to spend money on hot tubs because it's a luxury item. You know, it's not a necessity. It's something that you'll buy just because it's a luxury. We had a warehouse and we had to pay rent every quarter, thousands of pounds worth of rent. It wasn't a small place. We needed a big showroom. We needed a storeroom as well, and an office, somewhere to park the truck, the vans. And it was very, very expensive. And not only did that result in us having to try and terminate the lease, I mean, the landlord was having none of it. The landlord would never let us terminate early. We was actually paying him money out of what we saved in the business to cover the cost to pay for a warehouse sat there empty with nothing in it. So that really bled money. Really, really bled money out of the business. We built this thing up, blood, sweat, tears. We absolutely gave it everything we could, and it failed. We didn't want it to fail. No one wants the business to fail, but ultimately it did, and it had an impact. I think the areas that went wrong where we should never have had a warehouse that early. We opened up a warehouse showroom probably just over a year into having the business, where I think, looking back, hindsight, it's a wonderful thing to have, but I think looking back now, I would never have opened the warehouse and the showroom, and we'd have saved more money. We wouldn't have bled that money. In the end, luckily, there was another person interested in taking the warehouse over from us, and we settled with the landlord just to basically terminate the lease. So we managed to get out of it, but we was fixed in. We wasn't limited either back then, so we was not protected at all. Another thing where we went wrong is we should have been incorporated. That would have given us some shield of protection, because if we missed payments on the warehouse, my house and the other partner's house was at risk. I'd never ever risk that again, guys, and don't you risk that either. Always protect yourself in business, because landlords don't care. They want the money on time when it's due each time. So lesson learned from that. But I think what I would do differently, the startup to the business was great. We basically bought in, sold, saved, and repeated that blueprint. And, we bought at trade, we sold at retail, the profit after tax, we banked, and we reinvested it in the business. And that's all you've got to do. Just keep saving your money and reinvesting in your business. Believe in what you're selling, believe in the name, the brand, and over time, you will bank enough money where you can then buy 2 items or 3 or 4. That's what we did very, very well. Where we let ourselves down was we was very, very advantageous at the beginning, and we saw what it could be. But I think we started sprinting before we could learn to walk. So I definitely wouldn't recommend getting a warehouse or, being responsible or committed to paying a bill every month or quarter if you know that you're not bringing the money in. It may seem like you are, and it may seem like the next logical step. And in some industries it is, don't get me wrong. But I think a year into it, I'd give it a couple of years first before you start splashing out on a warehouse and forklift trucks and a couple of wagons, That's the one thing I would change if I could go back. And of course, not have any energy crisis on the hands as well. But it's all down to the importance of your adaptability. Okay, if you can adapt to certain scenarios, if you can be like a chameleon and just change with the times and with what's thrown at you, you'll be successful in anything that you do, whether it's selling, social media, marketing, office work, recruitment, you sell insurance, whatever it would be. If you can adapt and you can be like that chameleon, you'll be absolutely fine. And I think that taught me, I've always been very, very good at adapting to certain situations, because if you don't adapt, you die. You've got to learn to do that. And again, that's where the confidence comes in. Look, it's not worked out this time. It doesn't mean the skills, the attributes, the level of success that I have seen and had before, I can't move on to something bigger and better. Of course it doesn't. But you've got to have that self-belief, and you've got to adapt with it. Those that adapt will thrive. Those that don't adapt will just starve and die off. Okay? So adaptability is the key thing. I could have turned around and said, right, it didn't work out, I'm going to go back and get a 9 to 5. But deep down, I didn't want that, because I knew, I believed in myself, and I built several businesses, some weren't successful. I'm not sitting here feeding you BS on these podcasts saying I'm amazing and I've made X, Y, and Z and I've got several flourishing businesses. I wish, but that's not the case. The fact of the matter is, businesses, in the first 5 years of businesses, a lot of them fail. Okay? And, you see all these podcasts and all these people out there that are living the dream, they're in Dubai, that are doing this, that, and the other, and they haven't got a pan to pee in, guys. Okay? I'm being brutally honest. I'm being raw with you. I have failed in some of my businesses, so I'm not ashamed to admit it, because failure is a big lesson to learn. Failure teaches us more than success does. That's a true fact. Failure teaches us more than what success will ever. Period. But you've got to adapt, and you've got to learn from your mistakes. And if you can do that, you'll be fine. I mean, I didn't want to go back to a 9 to 5. I didn't want to go and work for somebody on the same money every year, asking when I can go away on a holiday, asking when I can have time off for my kid's birthday or nativity play or, bank holidays. I don't want to go back to that lifestyle, because as a father, as a partner, I missed a lot of years that I will never get back. And I'm sure now, guys, you're probably driving to work now in your car listening to this. Or you're probably watching this on your lunch break. I don't know. But for those that are sick and tired of showing up at a place every day, the same place, working with the same people for the same money, asking the same damn questions, can I take this time off, or can I go, you've really got to look in the mirror, guys, because there's only you that can make that change in your life. There's only you that can do that for you and your family. But if you're just going to sit back and listen to podcasts and videos and motivational speakers, and you're not going to do anything about it, then that's your own fault, guys. You've got to really just, excuse me, you've got to really want it. And it's only when you've suffered enough and when you've had nothing in life and you come from nothing, because I don't come from anything. I don't come from money. I don't come from a rich family or auntie or uncle. I'm just a normal person, but I had a desire to succeed because I wanted more. And there's nothing wrong with wanting more out of life. Those that want it will go and get it. Those that don't, you're probably driving to work now listening to this, wishing that you could come up with an idea or go and do something. Well, guess what? Try different things. Try different things. I'm currently writing a book amongst doing other stuff. I've never written a book before in my life. I was terrible at English at school. I'm still terrible now at spelling and grammar and punctuation. But guess what? I'm going to go out there and write a book and publish it and sell it because I believe in my ability. I believe in my skill set. I don't doubt anything. If you doubt it, you won't do it. So guys, please go out there and give it a go. You will fail at a lot of stuff, but guess what? You will succeed as well. And there's no better feeling when things are going right and you're having a great time and you're succeeding. It's such a great feeling because you've made it happen, nobody else. You've not had to rely on that person. You know, you just rely on yourself and you'll get stuff done. You know, if I hadn't made the mistakes in business prior, I would never have been able to adapt and go on to something else that I've been successful in. You know, it's just one of those things, guys. We've all got it inside us to go out and do it and make something of us. So if you choose to do it. But the lessons, I hope you've learned something from this podcast, from my story anyway. Do not spend too much money when you're starting out in business. Obviously, there's necessities. Okay, you've got to market it. I get that. You've probably got to factor in diesel, you know, if you're on the road delivering a certain product or staff or something like that. But just take your time with it. It's not going to go anywhere. Take your time with the business, build it up, and don't spend more than what you're bringing in, guys. Bank it, save it, but keep repeating that process. When you've got enough money, yeah, then go and step forward into warehousing or storage or equipment. But for the time being, buy cheap. If you need equipment, buy it cheap. Go and strike a deal somewhere. If you've got that skill set of selling, which I'm hoping you've developed from listening to prior podcasts, go and negotiate deals for equipment and tools or stuff, anything you need to do your job. But just hold back a little while, get established, get comfortable, get your feet under the table, and you'll know when it feels right to go and do it. But don't get caught out, guys. I would not want anybody, I don't care who they are, whether I like them or not, but I wouldn't want anybody not being able to sleep at night because they owe money to somebody and they're lying awake in bed while their partner's sleeping next to them and their kids are sleeping in their bedrooms, and you're awake in bed with a sick feeling in your stomach thinking, what the hell am I going to do if they come for my house? Where are my kids going to live? What's my missus or partner going to think? I won't want anybody thinking that, guys, because trust me, it ain't a nice feeling to have. And the relief that was lifted off my shoulders when we terminated that lease and I knew I could walk away, I can't explain it to you. It was just like, seriously. So don't get caught up in stuff that you can't afford. Don't sprint before you can walk. Don't run before you can walk. Just go with it and you will get there. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Drop me a follow and leave a comment, guys. If you need any help with anything, I'm always here, and I'll see you on next week's episode. Take care.